Hello, my name is Mike Pat, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. Now, the last time we got together, we started our the first course that I'm going to present, and that's a new feature in YouTube. So I'm going to develop a course, and this was the title of the first course, How to Recognize the Illusion Hidden All Around You. And this was our first lesson, right here. And it was, the senses are not designed to do what you think they do. And we went through how the senses, not how they operate, because that is magnificent in themselves, but the input to the sense and the output. The input is information coming from the infinite field of everything, which is meaningless, and the output is electromagnetic and chemical information or data. But one thing I didn't point out is that all of this information is moving at the rate of 11 million bits of data per second. Now, most of it is visual. The highest percentage of it is visual. Everything else is a little bit less, quite a bit less. And so that is basically what we talked about. And what does this data do? Now, the senses do not filter it. They don't examine it. They don't do anything to it, except as they are capable, they just pass information. And so that's what we talked about last time. And that was our lesson number 1. And now we're going to go on to lesson number 2, right? Now, and this is our lesson for today. And let me read it for you off my little paper. You are programmed into the egoic belief system. I mean egoic, the illusion. You are programmed into it. And I forgot to put the designator here, but this is video 351, course number 1, lesson number 2. And I'll reference the first one up here in the corner. Now, we're talking about programming. And in programming the individual, there's only 2 ways that you are programmed. 2 ways of programming: hypnosis and repetition. You may think there's others, but when it breaks down, that's it. Now, where does the programming start? Now, on our model here, we have several different things, and let me point them out. Going up the side here, we have frequencies, or hertz, of brain frequency. That's what that represents. And over here, on this line, we have years. And here is a 0 point, birth. That's what it is. Now you notice that there's a little line right here on this side of 0, where you're born. This is the time in the womb. And this is the time in the womb that your beliefs are beginning to form. And by the time you're born, because the mother and the child are essentially one thing. And in the second trimester, the developing brain is electrified and is capable of receiving information. But the information is chaotic, doesn't mean anything. But in the womb, all of the senses that we talked about in the last video are practiced. I don't know about smell. That's the only one I'm not sure about. But all the other ones are practiced. The sight, the sound, touch, and the taste. They're all practiced. So that when the child is born, they are ready to use those senses. But in the meantime, the mother's feelings and emotions are the child's feelings and emotions. If the mother has a wonderful gestation period, it is very likely that the child will have a very wonderful beginning to their belief system. If they don't, for various reasons, they're anxious, they're scared, birth was, being pregnant was not one of their plans at the moment, and it's disruptive, or there's a divorce, or there's all kinds of things that could affect the mother's emotional state, not just physical, because, eating good and taking vitamins and walking, all good, but the emotional state is most important. So that's where our belief system starts. And where do we get that belief system that we're born to some degree with? Comes right out of the family of origin. So the mother, unfortunately, ladies, has a lot to do with the personality of the young child. Now, in the womb, the child's mental mind, brain, is at a frequency called delta. And delta is between 4 hertz, 4 cycles per second, and around a half a cycle. Now, if it was 0, 4 to 0, 0, brain dead. Okay? So they say 4 to a half cycle. So that's what the child is going through in the womb, and you can imagine how they are determining that in the womb. Now, after birth, this delta state continues until around age 3. Now, the delta frequency is also a hypnotic frequency. It's also known as the Asdale state. And Dr. Asdale developed this method, I forgot, 1918 something, in India. And it was used, it's in the description, and it was used to, for operations. They had no anesthetic. So they used altered states, hypnotic states, to induce a receptivity within the patient where they felt no pain, but they were awake and were able to experience certain things. And in the delta state, the child is awake and just absorbing information with no filter. It's just going straight in and being accepted. Now, a 2 or 3-year-old doesn't sit on its mother's knee and while the mother is talking to a friend about some subject. Let's pick politics. And the little 2 or 3-year-old says, oh, wait a minute. I want to question that information. How did you get it? Where did it come from? Why do you believe that? Why should I be involved in it? They don't do that. They're 2 or 3. They just absorb the information from the closest thing to God that they're aware of. And you don't question Mama or Dad. You just accept it. And this is what is happening in this stage of development of the child. Will it make sense? Not at that point. But as they go on, that information will bubble up and take its place within the belief system. Now, at around age 3, now you notice these are square. They're all squared along, but they're not. They undulate. They move. There is a pattern around them. They can be in one state or another state, but this is predominant at that point. At age 3, around age 3, they move from this delta deep hypnosis state into theta. And theta is between 4 and 7 cycles per second. It's up from delta, but it's still a deep hypnotic state. And so programming is still going on into an open receptor, which is the child's mind. Around age 3, but here in delta, they are beginning to question some of the information, but not to reject it. They just kind of recognize there's a little difference here. Around age 3, around age 7, the core belief system is in place. Now this is a very important turning point in the child, because at that point, this core belief system is in place along with the critical factor for the ability to begin to criticize new information. All of this, they put download here. From birth or before to age 7, all of this information is downloaded from family of origin, extended family, culture, religious preference, the country you live in, social norms, all kinds of stuff are done right in here, and it's completed around age 7. From then on, new information will find it difficult to begin to enter this system. And we move from theta to alpha. Now you notice I got a little red line under which is predominant. But even in theta, sometimes you're in delta. So it's back and forth. When you're in alpha, sometimes you move deeper and deeper. So these are not facts as to where you always are. This is just predominant. And you are in alpha, which is a step up, and you are now questioning new information. In this phase, it's still a hypnotic phase, but much lighter. Around age 12, which is right around puberty and that kind of stuff, you move into beta. And beta is from around 15 to 30. Actually, some studies say much higher than that. And there is another one, gamma, up here, but I'm not going to talk about that. This is considered your waking state. Your waking state, as we are right now talking here about this information. So this is where you are programmed. This right here is the base plate on which all your other beliefs will be built. Now you can change this. You can't really change what went on in the womb, although it does affect your belief system on the subconscious level. You don't know what they are consciously, so you can't mediate. These here are about the same thing. They're very difficult because they're ingrained before you had any filtering of the information. So all of this, age 7 is a turning point, a psychological turning point for the child. Now, is it exactly age 7? No, it would be a little bit this way, a little bit that way. But this is what your world is going to be. You're programmed now. Can you change your programming? Yes. Do you know you can change your programming? Well, if you don't know your program, and you think, oh no, I just live in the world. This is the way the world is. You don't recognize your programming. Why would you change it? It seems like when you get over here and you're more mature, that you would make different choices. But you don't know that you're programmed. You don't know. And I've said this in other videos, and you can check them out. You can't think outside of your belief system. No matter what you think, you can't think outside of what you believe. And so you're not going to change until you begin to recognize all beliefs are formed by experience. And you create the belief. And since you are the creator, you can change it. So, I had this up here by AI, and basically what it was to say that, you're born in Delta. You'll see it in the description, but I'm not going to bother to show it up here right now. So if you want to check that just for verification, you can do that. Now, we've been all the way through. From here up to when you leave the illusion, you're going to be in theta. Later on, you may be in dementia, which will change this a little bit. So that's a different story. So this is the process that you go through, that we all go through, that we have all gone through. There's only two ways of programming: hypnosis and repetition. And you can, now, the hypnosis is looking at the cycles per second. And the fact that even at my age, you can be in any one of these states. And these are hypnotic states, and this is a waking state. So you are always in a process where you could be in hypnosis. Repetition. Now, these two things are also why manifesting works. Affirmations said over and over and over and over and over and over will change your belief system. Hypnosis, visualization, and vision boards, all that kind of stuff, it's all under this part. So these also are effective, and we'll talk later about them too, in manifesting. So this is our discussion for today, and here is what A Course in Miracles says. And here's what it says about this thing. Because again, we don't understand that the senses are not telling us what is happening. It's not the senses. They're just tools. They're just instruments. Now, before we go on, we are having a little cinnamon tea, hot cinnamon, which is a black tea with apple cider, one of my favorite delights. Now here's what the Course says. You believe that what your physical eyes cannot see does not exist. You believe what your physical eyes can't see doesn't exist. Now, if you look at the last video, I transmit a lot of information, but they don't determine what the information is. You believe your eyes tell you things. They do not. You are programmed to see the world the way you do. And in our next video, we will use both this lesson 2 and lesson 1 to look at how you create in your world. Well, there's much to talk about here in the illusion. And until we get together again, be good to yourself, and we will see you right here in the illusion for the next lesson. Bye now.